Shalom. I want to give all praise, honor, and glory unto Yahweh Bahashim Yahushai, Bahashim Racha Kodash for giving me the spirit and power to make this lesson. Double honors unto the elders and apostles of Great Millstone that teach this truth and rule well. Wabarakatham unto the elect. This is the Brother Gabar, and I'm back with another lesson. And this is going to be titled that the Lord Yahweh are in his omnipotency, all right, meaning all powerful, all right, his all powerfulness, his almighty, all right, he's controlling both sides of the checkerboard. And this is something that a lot of people don't know. And specifically, I want to go into this war, okay, because it's definitely heating up, all right, as it's been, okay, but this is all part of the plan of Yahweh Bashim Al-Shai. All right, the Lord is using these pieces on the checkerboard to set up, all right, his play, his show, all right, because this is all to forward his will. Nothing is happening in the earth that the Lord Yahweh did not sanction first, okay? Matter of fact, 2 precepts just to kick the ball off. This is Isaiah chapter 46 and verse 10. It says, declaring the end from the beginning, right? So it was already declared what was going to take place in the latter days, all the way in the time of Genesis in the garden. And before that, before the earth was really ever made, okay? The Lord's will, all right, is first, no matter what. It says, declaring the end from the beginning and from ancient times, the things that are not yet done, right? The prophecies to come to pass. It says, saying, my counsel shall stand and I will do all my pleasure, right? And ultimately, what's the Lord's pleasure that he about to perform? Okay, of course, the Lord loves judgment. The Lord loves judgment. That's going to play out. Okay, the fear of the Lord is going to be in the earth. All right, but specifically, all right, because this ties into basically everything, which is the Lord giving us the kingdom. Luke 12 and 32. Fear not, little flock, right? Speaking about the Israelites, all right, the flock of the Lord as he's the shepherd, all right. It says, for it is your Father's good pleasure to give you the kingdom, right? What's the kingdom? The rulership. So it's the Lord's good pleasure to give it to us. Well, it's going to be taken from somebody else to be in our hands. As the scripture says, the saints of the Most High shall take the kingdom. So it's the Lord's good pleasure for all this to play out. And that's why we're seeing this happen today. Because he made oaths to our forefathers, all right, and he cannot break those. Okay, as the scriptures say, he is not a man that he shall lie. All right, so the Lord is making good his word, okay? And also, of course, the Lord loves us. All right, he loves his people. All right, he didn't put us in Babylon, the great America, to be destroyed, and that's it. It was just a punishment. All right, very hard punishment. But what's coming to the heathen nations, and especially Esau, is going to be beyond hard, beyond tough. All right, and the Lord's going to make sure of that, okay? Another precept, Proverbs chapter 20 and verse 24, okay? Man's goings are of the Lord Yahweh. How can a man then understand his own way? Right. How can a man understand his own way if the Lord is controlling you? Think of it as everybody on earth is a puppet, and the Lord has his angels, all right, as the puppet master. He's the ultimate puppet master, and he got the angels down there controlling everybody, which is them literally sealing your instruction for the next day in your mind when you go to sleep every night. As the scriptures say, you read that in, I believe, the book of Job. All right. So the Lord is controlling man on earth. All right. And the events that happen, everything that takes place, the Lord is controlling it. Okay. Proverbs 21 and 1. The king's heart, the king, right? Who's the king right now of Babylon? Trump. All right. You got the other kings of the heathen nations, but they're all being controlled. They're all under the influence of the vibration of Yahweh Bashim Al-Shai's will. What must happen in the earth, which ultimately is this third woe coming, as the Lord brought the other woes. All right, but we're gonna touch on that. All right, but this is Proverbs 21:1. It says, the king's heart is in the hand of the Lord Yahweh. As the rivers of water, he turneth it whithersoever he will. You see, his will. If the Lord wants it to be peace, it'll be peace. If the Lord wants Section 8, food stamps, SNAP, these different benefits to be cut off, it's going to be cut off. If the Lord wants to bring it back, he'll bring it back. If he want to bring it back with the C hip, he'll bring it back with the C hip. It's Yahweh's will. It's not our will. If it were our will, we would have had it from the garden. We would have been delivered yesterday. As soon as you heard you were Israel, oh, for real? Then the chariot just there, bing, and you just going up. This is your only wish. Okay, but this is the Lord's will. Even being in these bodies is the Lord's will. All right. As he subjected the same in hope, because we're supposed to be hoping, we're supposed to be believing. All right. Now, Acts chapter 1 and verse 6. When they, that they is the disciples of Yahushua, when they therefore were come together, they asked of him, saying, Lord, wilt thou at this time restore again the kingdom to Israel? You see, as we once had it before, and we lost it. All right, and we lost it, and we lost it. Okay, but they were in the mindset of deliverance, and when is this going to be over? All right, when are we going to rule? Okay, and the answer that Yahushua gave is, it's very deep, really. All right, we're going to read it in verse 7. It says, and he said unto them, it is not for you to know the times or the seasons which the Father hath put in his own power, right? Because, hey, it's ultimately his will. Yahweh didn't even let Yahushua know, and that's Yahushua. He didn't even let Yahushua know when he was going to come back. I grabbed that. You know, so this is something it's in the Lord. It's just Yahweh's timing. All right. So as we see all these things come to pass and everything, we know the Lord's getting ready to do what he said he was going to do. Okay. Matthew chapter 24. We'll get verse. Matthew chapter 24 and verse 36, straight to the point, says, but of that day and hour knoweth no man. Speaking about when Yahushua actually literally returns. It says, no, not the angels of heaven. Think about that. Michael, Gabriel, all the angels. And those are some top angels right there. But all the angels is millions and billions, trillions of angels. All right, and more. But they don't even know. Yahushua himself, the top angel himself, Yahushua, created by Yahweh himself, the only spirit created by Yahweh himself, the only begotten son of Yahweh in existence, doesn't even know. That's how powerful Yahweh is, man. But we know, as we see these things come to pass, that it's about to happen. But the point is that it's Yahweh. It's in his time, in his favor, when he sees fit. Okay? Not that he's not going to do it, but at his appropriate time. And you have to trust that. You just got to trust that. Because ultimately, it's working something. Okay? And then when we don't understand, you're supposed to have faith. Okay? Like a woman's supposed to, hey. If you marry with a woman, hey, you get them vows. Hey, what they say, through thick and thin, sickness, health, all that in the world. Imagine that. Imagine you on your deathbed with cancer and your woman walk out on you. All right. And then you actually get better and you beat cancer. And then you run into her later on and it's like, oh, you know, and she like, I'm sorry. I just didn't think it was. And you like, you faithless, you know, you ain't got no type of faith, no hope in me. It'd be the same thing, you know. That's why you don't want to fall away, man. You do not want to fall away. All right. You don't want to be that faithless woman. You want to be found as a chaste virgin. Okay. You want to be ready. Okay. With all preparation. It says, Matthew 24:36, know not the angels of heaven, but my Father only. Right. And then as you read on, Yahushua starts telling you, hey, but it's going to be like the days of Noah. All right. It's going to be just like that. It's going to be all so-called normal and shit. And then it's just going to go down. So the Lord was giving us tips. All right. You read Matthew 24. It's a heavy chapter on those clues to look for. But I want to read this verse. I might read another one in this Matthew, but Matthew 24:37. But as the days of Noah, as spelled Noe, but it's Noah. But as the days of Noah were, so shall also the coming of the Son of Man be. Right. So it's going to be in the same like manner. What was they doing? They was eating, drinking, talking shit, planning, sewing, going to parties, kickbacks, whatever. Celebrating all kinds of messed up stuff. Idol worship. Okay. Pride. All right. As scriptures speak about the giants in those days being prideful, which was us, the Israelites. All right. As we're known today. But back then we were known as the sons of God. All right. In that time, before the flood. And we wasn't literally giants, 100 feet tall, 100,000 feet tall. Jake was everything was bigger. Fruit was bigger. Animals was bigger. The air was better quality. Water better quality of life. Okay, and we were taller, but not literally giants. Okay, But anyways, verse 38 it says, "For as in the days that were before the flood, they were eating and drinking, marrying and giving in marriage." Right. If you about to marry somebody, for somebody to get on one knee in this world, they get on one knee to this woman. They really ain't shit. All right. You really think you got a future. So it's going to look like it's a future up until the very second the Lord pardons the heavens, man, and enter our realm and perform what he going to perform. Deliverance and destruction. So you think about that. That's why, hey, don't tarry to turn to the Lord. You don't know when it's gonna be. It says, until the day that Noah entered into the ark. It says, and knew not until the flood came. So people are not gonna know until the destruction happened, man. That it, they're not gonna know. They're gonna know the Lord then, but that's when they gonna know. That's how they gonna meet him. It says, and knew not until the flood came and took them all away. So shall also the coming of the Son of Man be. Right. So the Lord is one to look like, nothing going to happen. But the ones with faith, they know, because they're looking at the things that the Lord said to look for. And they like, yeah, it's coming. It's here. It's at the door. Let me make sure my house is in order. OK. Now let's get Revelation chapter 17. Okay. It says, I want to start at verse 16. It says, and the 10 horns which thou sawest upon the beast, these shall hate the whore. All right. And you got the whore, Babylon the Great. All right. You got the beast. All right. You got the 10 heads and you got the 10 horns and 7 heads, I believe. As it says, you can go read that. All right. But the Lord has set that whole thing up, man. All right. Reading verse 16 from the top. And the 10 horns which thou sawest upon the beast, these shall hate the whore. Right. All right. Those other heathen nations. And you got like Putin and them, which is Russia. All right. Magog. All right. Known in the scriptures, they are occupying that land now. All right. Those are just Edomites. So you got Edomite on Edomite crime. All right. Edomites going to take Edomites out. The rat created the rat trap. A house divided against itself cannot stand. Right. It says, these shall hate the whore. Right. The Lord is going to turn their heart on them, which they already hated. All right. But they make money off of this devil. All right. They get benefits still off of this devil. All right. It says, and shall make her desolate and naked, and shall eat her flesh and burn her with fire. That's going to be with the ICBM missiles, man. All those missiles, the weapons they got, it's all going to be turned on Babylon the Great. All right. It says, for Yahweh hath put in their hearts to fulfill his will and to agree and give their kingdom unto the beast, until the words of Yahweh shall be fulfilled. So you see, the Lord has put it in their hearts to be how they are right now. And then the Lord is going to put in their hearts to be burning her, eating her. All right. Devouring her flesh. with fire. The Lord's going to put it in their heart, man. Let me get that. Ezekiel chapter 38 and verse 10. It says, thus said the Lord Yahweh, it shall also come to pass. So this is going to happen. He don't lie. That at that same time shall things come into thy mind, and thou shalt think an evil thought. Right. Speaking about, all right, the leadership of Russia. Okay. All right, which right now you have Putin. Okay, the Lord's going to put it in his mind, all right, to do these things, to do this thing, okay, as Russia has a big hand in taking America down, okay. Verse 11, Ezekiel 38:11, and thou shalt say, I will go up to the land of unwalled villages. Who's that? America, Babylon. You got all these cities, states, and all of this. They don't have any walls or anything. In the ancient world, it'll be walls in the cities, all right, and that'd be protection. You got walled villages. Here, you don't have that. Okay, it's all sweet, right? It says, I will go to them that are at rest, right? All right, Babylon the Great at rest. Okay, they don't care about anything. They're just fat, lazy. All right, they're at ease. They're at rest. You got Walmart got drones now to deliver food. Ain't these people not fat enough? Well, now that you got all your poison and everything to make you obese and kill you, well, you know what? Now we're bringing it to your door, which they could have been ordered, of course. But you see how everything in this convenience and everything, how, yeah, these people are at complete rest. And as the words of the Lord come out, they don't care because they're chilling. But OK, it's supposed to be like that. It says, I will go to them that are at rest. They're in this heavenly estate. That dwell safely, right? All right, Babylon ain't really been touched yet. It says, all of them dwelling without walls and having neither bars nor gates, to take a spoil. And hey, man, you even had Putin say, literally, you can go look it up in an article, where he said that WW3 goes down, it's not going to just be over here. We're going to bring it to the soils of America. So it's already, it's already stirred up. The Lord just got to press that button on him. Send that angel down there, to just put that in his mind and, have things popping. They got submarines and stuff off the coast of America. We seen that. They flexing their might. They doing that. It's proxy wars. Now the whole shebang, the real deal, is about to flow through. It's about to come. It ain't going to stop. You think the Lord's going to do all this? Stir up political turmoil, some here. Of course, it's going to get worse as Jacob's trouble, as we step in through that door of Jacob's trouble. You think the Lord's going to do all this and then the war and everything and with Israel and everything, and then it's just nothing? That's just it? Nah, man, it's a plan. It's a counsel the Lord had for this. And it's going to be seen through. People say, I'm going to see it through. The Lord going to see it through with this, all right, on earth. It says to take a spoil and to take a prey, to turn thine hand upon the desolate places that are now inhabited, right? Because this place is going to be left smoking on fire for a while, a lake of fire. And it's going to be desolate after that for all eternity. It's going to be a desert as a monument for when you rebel against the Lord, a nation that rebels against the Lord. Okay? Because this place is filthy, man, laden with iniquity. It says to turn thine hand upon the desolate places that are now inhabited, and upon the people that are gathered out of the nations, which have gotten cattle and goods, that dwell in the midst of the land. Okay, so the Lord is going eventually, as things stir up, the Lord is going to put it, all right, in the mind, all right, of that leadership of what you have, Russia, okay, Magog, which is Putin, okay, to do this, to complete it. And guess what? Even if he don't want to do it, it don't matter. It don't matter. We just read that man's goings are of the Lord, so it don't matter. Romans 9:19. Thou wilt say then unto me, why doth he yet find fault? For who hath resisted his will? Right? Which this chapter, all right, this specific precept going in about, Esau and, well, why am I if how you gonna find fault in me if you made me like this, But that's another story. Okay, the point is, for who hath resisted his will, meaning you can't get around what the Lord wants. The Lord wants you to go in a car crash and you're not even in a car. He gonna make sure a car hits you while you walking. He gonna make sure a car hits you while you in the crib. It's just gonna come through. Whatever it is, whatever the Lord will is, it's gonna happen. When has the Lord will not happen? That's a real, genuine question. Go read the scriptures. When has the Lord not gotten his way? Okay. Revelation 11:14. The second woe is past, World War II. And behold, the third woe cometh quickly. Right. You think the Lord brought the first woe, the second woe, and the third woe now that we seeing that we're in it? You think it's not going to come to this full boiling point, all out nuclear war? All right. You think the Lord just going to stop and I just can't give him the kingdom? Damn, man. We got so close. No, the Lord's going to fulfill what he promised. All right. If we went through the humility, how are we not going to get the honor if we're still keeping our faith? We got our faith. We on our feet. All right. The Lord is going to do what he promised, man. Okay. Joel chapter 3. All right. A very nice chapter. One of my favorites. All right. And it's specifically going into that war. Okay. Joel chapter 3. It says, for behold, in those days and at that time. So it's a set time the Lord has that he's going to deliver us, that he's going to destroy Babylon. It's all recorded. It's all set. Okay. And we see that we're reaching that set time. The clock is ticking. For behold, in those days and at that time, when I shall bring again. See, he's telling you what he's going to do. When I shall bring again the captivity of Judah and Jerusalem, right? When the Lord delivers us, all right, in these latter days. This is what it's speaking about. Verse 2. I will also gather all nations. That's what we're seeing happen. All the heathen nations are getting ready. All right. For what? It says, and will bring them down into the valley of Jehoshaphat. All right. Which it says Jehoshaphat, but it's Yahweh. The true name, obviously, is Yahweh. And Shaphat meaning judgment. So his judgment making place. His decision making place. It says, bring them down into the valley of Jehoshaphat, all right, where they're going to be judged, and will plead with them for my people and for my heritage Israel. And I want to pause there and grab a precept. All right, but the Lord is doing this for our sakes. All this commotion and war and this and that and this. All right, the pieces being moved on the chessboard. All right, the Lord is jealous over his people. You touched the apple of his eye, so now you about to be touched in a way that you can't even fathom. All right, can't even fathom. They can't even fathom what hell is about to be on them. All right, and the Lord being omnipotent, he's moving both sides of the board. How powerful is that? And he can move whenever he want. He could do whatever he want. He's not bound by, well, I gotta have, gotta make sure, what I'm saying, Trump feeling good for this to happen. No, he just put it in his heart and it's done. Okay. Well, for him to say this, we gotta make sure. No, the Lord is controlling him. All right. Send that angel to seal his plans for the next day for him to push that red button on America. All right. Or whatever it is. All right. As I said, man's goings are of the Lord. So the Lord controls what's happening, the show, who wins, how they win, who lose, how they lose. It's all being orchestrated, and it's a very frightful thing. Let me grab this precept right quick. Isaiah 66:16. For by fire and by his sword will the Lord Yahweh plead with all flesh, and the slain of the Lord Yahweh shall be many. So when it's talking about he gonna plead with you, that's how he gonna plead with you, Esau, and the heathen nations and the heathen of our people, which are physically in the flesh, they're Israelites, all right, but they're not really. They're not in the spirit. They're not really the seed of Abraham. They're of their father, the devil. All right, just like Yahweh Shah told him, right? So that's how the Lord gonna talk to you. It ain't gonna be literally talking. It says, and we'll Salakia back in Isaiah, back in Joel 3:2. It says where I left off, and I will plead in verse 2, and I will plead with them for my people and for my heritage Israel, whom they have scattered among the nations and parted my land. Right. And our land is also going to be cleansed. All right. And it's going to be cleansed with fire, of course. Okay. So the Lord is doing all this as a good thing for us because of what they did to us. But you got simple Jakes that were talking about, we free, we ain't slaves. We ain't got no enemies. Our only enemy is ourselves. You know, Charleston White ass niggas. COONs. Uncle Ruckus? Yeah, man, them dudes got to be exterminated. And they are. The Lord got something set up for them. All right. Not everybody is just going to be, as soon as they say something wrong, they just put straight in the dirt. Yeah, you got cases where the Lord do that. All right. The Lord said, enough of this nigga. I can raise him up later. But, hey, it's certain people that are reserved specifically for said things that, we can't even utter. We just know hard times are coming and, famine and teeth will out be such and such. Somebody got to be numbered to that. Somebody has to. Why not them? Okay, but Lord's will, this was edifying. Yahweh Bashim Shai is controlling the whole entire chessboard and what happens, man. So that should give you a lot of comfort. Okay? When you seeing pieces being moved in the world, the Lord is doing that ultimately. All right, no matter what pride Esau and them got, oh, we got this and that and this happened and we just won this and we got peace in the Middle East. Okay. When they shall say peace and safety, is sudden destruction is going to come upon them. Roughly paraphrasing. All right. 1 Thessalonians, I believe. Okay. So let Yahweh Bashim Shai do his work in the earth, man. We see him working. Let him do his work. I want to give all praises, honor, and glory unto Yahweh Bashim Shai for giving me the spirit and power to make this lesson. Until next time, Kam Yasharallah Shalom.